Hi, welcome back to my channel, and welcome to this pick a card reading. So, this reading, I wanted to focus on how you can find direction and align with your life's path, your purpose, or your destiny, whichever term you prefer, because this is a time where, with the transition of Pluto in Aquarius, things have been for the past few months very tumultuous, very up in the air. Things could be falling apart in your life, and you could lack direction. And just it feels like there's not really um, a past to cling on to, a past to go back to, but also the direction is unclear because we have to push ourselves into the unknown during this time. So if you find yourself in a situation like this right now, this is a time where we're actually coming up out of the darkness, out of the healing phases of this, and when things were initially feeling like they were falling apart in this Pluto transit, the things are starting to lighten up now, and it's like after everything had fallen apart, now we have to find out how we're going to start over or how we're going to rebuild our lives in some way. So, this is about, and the whole point of these energies during this time is to break down what's not working, break down what's false, and align us with who we really are, our authentic selves as an individual, and how that can help benefit humanity on a collective level as we embrace our individuality. So, there are 4 piles here. We have Moonstone, Amethyst for pile 2, a Clear Quartz point for 3, and Hematite for pile 4. Now, if you are staying for the intro, I will say on this channel I like to go into more deeper spiritual topics and really get to the esoteric understanding of things. So I want these readings to focus on really deep diving into the energies playing out and how you can really align with the higher spiritual path. And I think for the time being, of those of you who have subscribed for the zodiac readings, I do find them they are extremely, um, I do love doing them. They're extremely hard to put together with, everything else going on in my life right now. And it's been very hard to put those out in a timely manner. So I think I'm going to do pick a card readings a few times a month, or depending on uh, what the vibe is. And because also with pick a cards, I feel like we can really delve into deep topics. And down the line, when I get more in the flow of things here, because I'm also going through this transit as well. I will find a way to still do the specific zodiac sign monthly horoscopes, because I do think that is important as well. And I'd like to do more things with the channel, discuss more topics. So please subscribe if you're interested in these readings, if you're interested in more esoteric uh, knowledge, esoteric videos, where we can really delve into deeper topics. All right, so without further ado, let's get into the reading. Hi, pile 1. This is your reading on how you can find direction in this time and really align yourself with your higher purpose, your spiritual purpose, and your authenticity. So let's get started. So for you guys, we have the spider creative projects, burden, and the water fairy, feelings and emotions. So, right away, there is something that's close to your heart that you're meant to be pursuing. So, if you felt like things are falling apart, that perhaps you feel very stuck at your job, you feel, or maybe you're even being kind of like blackballed at your job, feel like the vibes are off, people aren't, you know, you're just not fitting in your current situation as you used to or your current situation may have fallen apart altogether. Now, you're meant to be pursuing something creative, and this has been deep in your soul for a very long time with the water fairy card here. You have a lot to express, and you're meant to be channeling that into a creative project. Now, this doesn't mean you have to be an artist or something like that, but this creative energy you could use to pursue whatever your skill set is and do it in a creative way. When we're moving into this Aquarius season, age of Aquarius, um, this is really about doing things in an unconventional way, especially when we have Uranus and Taurus right now. Doing things in an unconventional way, um, finding new routes to success, finding new ways to express yourself, finding new ways to express your authenticity. And whatever situation you were in before, was stifling your creativity, was stifling these this deep need for self-expression here. And this has been something you've dealt with for your whole life, perhaps. This is something, this burden card here. This is, you've been trained to, from a young age, from childhood, to repress these emotions, repress your self expression, repress this creativity. And, that has put you in situations where you've always felt like you wanted more, but there's this burden, there's the pressures of the day to day life, there's the pressures of the material world that are always kind of closing you in. So, there's never been the opportunity to make that move, to move in the direction or even express your creativity or tap into that creativity. It could be very stifled right now. And I feel like these transits where things have been falling apart, where things have been uh, kind of the rug pulled out from underneath you, or things just haven't been going your way, it's like every time you try to turn back to what you're used to, what you um, logically know works, those doors shut on you. And this is because at every corner now you're being pushed to express your creativity. It's like you cannot run from it anymore. And so this burden card here is really, that's what needs to be faced right now, is this wound that has caused you to repress your creative self, because there is something that you have that you can express that is unique to you, that can really benefit not only yourself through the allowing yourself to express yourself, but it can benefit others, it can benefit your community, it can benefit your friends, it can also benefit the collective. Especially if you're going into some kind of business venture with this, I really feel like it can grow into something where you're really benefiting the collective, doing something in a new and innovative way. I really get the sense that those of you in this collective are people who have been very methodical, been very logical. Um, you might be in like technical fields, or fields dealing with like accounting and things like that, very logical, um, very grounded. And now it's like you need to express this creativity, and whatever skill set you have, you will be able to use that going in this new adventure, but you can't do things the way you've always done them. You and that's why things feel confusing. You can feel stuck because the way out of this fog, the way out of this confusion is through facing that burden, is through facing this Three of Swords, this hole in your heart, this wound in your heart that has repressed your creativity and um, pushed you to go on this more logical path, and the tried and true path. Like, you could be earth signs in this pile, but this is a deep wound within you that has been, it's really been like this glass ceiling where you might find that you work and work and work, and a material reality could really become a burden for you, um, because you are, working in this very material way. You've been stifling your emotions, stifling this self expression, stifling this creative energy. And because you're doing that, it's like you've been taking the hard way your whole life. You've been doing things the hard way your whole life. Um, you might have felt like things don't happen as easily for you as they do for others. And the reason for this is this burden, this blockage, because at every turn, you have. So if you're taking the hard route now, the easier route would to become in flow, right? And to do that, you need to express your emotions, express your creativity, and harness that power. But in order to do that, you have to face the hard truths about whatever illusion, because this pain and this fear is an illusion that prevents you from expressing yourself. You have to face what that is. You have to face why you feel that way. And that's what, because this is like backed up energy, like all this creativity. um it's like the current of manifestation is like blocked, backed up, because you don't allow these creative waters to flow through you. Don't allow your emotions to flow through you, which is the key to your success. It's the key to aligning with that abundance and finding flow in a much easier way. So if you've been feeling for most of your life that things don't come easy to you, that you have to work very hard, and you know it's it's like a catch 22, because on one hand, the reason that you've been pushed into these very stressful material situations is because of your unwillingness to look at this emotional wound, to look at this burden that blocks your creativity. But on the other hand, as you've progressed through your life, the material stresses have gotten to the point that you can't see the way to even contemplate going on a more creative path, going on your own way, because you could feel extremely tied down to your material situations. So, if you're going through an extremely hard time right now and you feel like everything's been taken away, it's because you're being shown everything is being stripped away so that you can face this burden, so that you can see what really lies behind the pain. You can see the truth behind what that um, thought form or that wound actually is. And behind that wound is this creative inspiration. And this is going to come through to you if it hasn't already. It's going to come through to you as like just an epiphany, a spark, a revelation where you suddenly realize what's been blocking you. It's like everything is, it can feel like you're like being compressed or like you're really under pressure right now in the material realm. And all of these things are building up to reflect to you the core issue here, which is this Three of Swords, which is this thought form, which is this emotional wound, this wound in your heart that prevents you from expressing yourself. And when the pressure builds up, you'll have this moment, this epiphany. This could uh, come in the form of a situation that happens to you, or it can just come through your own personal contemplation. Um, but you'll have this revelation where you can see clearly what the truth of that situation was, whether it happened in childhood, or I really get the sense that this is something that you were taught. It's the way that you were raised, that has just built up and built up and built up. I'm really getting heavy Capricorn energy here. Um, just this repression of creativity to just constantly keep striving and keep striving. And it seems like you were just always had to take the hard road. But now you're going to have this revelation of, oh, that's why. That's why I've been climbing uphill this whole time. That's why I've been swimming upstream. And in that moment, you'll have this creativity just unlocked. And I'm really drawn to here in this card also how there's also like a tear here kind of thing. And I feel like when you have this revelation, it's your inner child, this creativity coming out, because this is a lot of fifth house energy as well. You could have some transits happening in your fifth house, where that's your inner child, that's your creativity, that's your self-expression, um, and that's all gonna be revealed to you how it was stifled and why. And you could have this release. You could have um, these moments where you just cry, where you just break down because the realization of this wound, of how your inner child and your creativity has been stifled, it needs to come to the surface and it needs to be released. So either you're about to come into that, or you've already had this revelation, you've already realized this about yourself, and you're in the releasing process, or you're coming out of that releasing process, and you're like, okay, now that I know this, how do I move forward? Now that all the other doors are closed, I can't go back to my tried and true methods of making money. I can't go back to my tried and true methods of feeling secure. How do I move forward in this situation? And the answer is to start expressing your creativity. I feel like you've had so many ideas for so long that you kind of just let pass. Just ideas would come to you, but there was always like, oh, I can't do that because of this reason, or just even the nervousness to express yourself, the nervousness to put yourself out there has prevented you from doing this. And now all the other doors are closed. And the one that is opening is the one that you walk through in the form of expressing your creativity. And with the Eight of Wands here, this is communication. You need to communicate your creativity. And like I said, this can develop into something that really changes the way things are done in your industry, or it has an impact on the collective in some way. And this largely has to do with your method of doing things, your way of thinking outside of the box. Because you've been working uphill this whole time, this has not been for nothing. It's not that, because I also get the sense here that when you have this revelation, there could be this feeling like, oh, I've been doing things the hard way this whole time, when the easy way is to work through these emotions and get more into a flow state in through creativity. And you could feel like, oh my God, for the past 15 years or longer, however long it is for you, you could feel like, oh my God, if only I'd known that, I could be in a better position right now, or I could be farther along in my life right now. Um, that's Don't do that to yourself. Um, all of this isn't for nothing. I really get that this is heavy Capricorn energy here for you guys, and everything you've done up until this point hasn't been for nothing. You've acquired a lot of skills, you've acquired a lot of wisdom, a lot of knowledge that has brought you to exactly where you are right now for a reason. You're in your specific position with your specific skills for this purpose now of expressing a more creative aspect of yourself with um, channeled through the skills you have. And I also want to bring attention to the Eight of Wands and the Eight of Pentacles here. This is that giving and receiving. For the longest time, like I said, you could have felt like other people have it easy. Things just come to them. I'm always swimming upstream and I don't know why. And now you're finding your stream, you're finding your flow state. Once this creative energy is unblocked, you're finding your flow state. You're finding things can come easier to you. And these eights here are representing how, like I said, the current of manifestation has been blocked because of this burden. And once you step into this door of self-expression and creativity and you start walking that path and you say, okay, I can't go back to the way things were, I can't go back into my old job, I can't go back to my old field, and you know what, I wasn't happy there anyway, and if I can't find security there, I'm going to discover a new way to find security within myself. And when you do that, all of this stuff that you've been trying to work for and trying to swim upstream for, it's all going to flow into you because this is how you move into alignment with that. So, all of that energy, that hardworking energy you have, those skills that you've learned, you can apply them now, not for this just for the sake of making money or just for the sake of holding down a 9 to 5 job or whatever the case is for you, but for the sake of expressing yourself creatively and building something in the world um, that really aligns with who you are and what you want. And it's not like, you're working at a desk job and there's, how people say like most of corporate desk jobs, the positions are often just place fillers, or they're meaningless in a lot of ways. So it's not like that. It's not like where you're just clocking in and you're working so hard, but like to what end? Just for your paycheck? No, you're applying these skills now, the work ethic you have, the abilities you've learned throughout all these years of working so hard. You can apply those skills and those disciplines now, but channeled but in a way that channels your creativity. And so it won't be, I'm just clocking in and whatever, I get my paycheck, that's it. It will be, I'm actually applying my discipline and my work ethic and all these skills I have and all this knowledge I have, and I'm actually doing something that I feel good about, that I feel truly productive in, that benefits um, society as a whole. So that's what this largely is about for you. The direction that you need to take to enter alignment now. If you're feeling extremely burdened, if you're feeling under pressure in your material environment. You feel like all the doors around you are closing. You might have been trying to get into something new, but I really want to emphasize this. If you're trying to move into a new career or move into a new direction and you find that those doors keep closing, or you're not getting accepted to these jobs, or you're not getting accepted to these opportunities, or whatever the case is for you, um, that is because you're searching for this sense of security. You're searching for a solution that's based on this pattern of avoiding that burden, that's based on the pattern of avoiding that self expression, right? So those doors are going to close. And the door that's opening now is for you to step into this path of expressing yourself creatively, of expressing that inner child wound. For a lot of you, this is going to be talking about whatever has happened here that has hurt you, and really expressing that to the world and building something out of that. Um, but this is all about going forth in your creativity, taking action in a creative way. Your ideas, like if you have ideas right now that come to you, you want to act on them. You don't want to let them pass you by anymore. You don't want to put it off, because when you have a thought, write it down, do something to take action on it, even if you can't, um, if you're at work or something and you can't exactly leave and go start on the whatever project idea you have, but write it down, do something, anything to take action on it, because you don't want those ideas to leave you. And you really, that's the door that's opening now, is expressing your creativity, communicating your creativity, building something out of your heart space, building something with all your skills, all your work ethic, all your discipline, and building that. And that's how you're going to exit this very stressful time of your life. Now, this is all easier said than done, because when you're under this intense pressure of the material world, it can be very hard to stay connected. You could find that you're, it's very easy to feel anxious, um, because, again, there's this lack of security. Um, there's a lot of pressure, and you want to try to keep yourself calm as much as possible. You want to try to keep yourself in this, just really in tune with your higher self, really in tune with yourself. You might find it beneficial to spend some time alone, especially if you're in this phase right now where you want to spend some time alone. You want to really get to understand this inner child aspect about you, get to understand what it is that you've always wanted to create, and really understand those fears and connect to your intuition so that you will know what the right moves are to make. Because I get the sense also that every time you try to move towards an opportunity that you feel is secure or the logical step, something, because you want to do this creative project, but there's, you're like, oh, I need this security, I need this money, I need whatever, so I'll do that later, and I'll try to get this job or just work in this field or whatever the case is. And there's part of you, when you move towards that path, there's part of you that feels like, no, that's not really what I want to do. And so you really want to be tapped into your intuition now, because you want to be able to trust yourself when you feel like, oh, I don't really want to do that, but I'm just doing that because it seems logical, it seems secure. You need to find this connection with yourself and really listen to that, like, no, I don't want to do that. Or when it comes to expressing these creative ideas, you'll feel inspired, like, yes, I want to do that. This is what I want to do. This is what I want to go for. And start taking any little steps you can towards that. And you want, right now, especially we're in Pisces season now, it's about trusting and having faith in your ideas, trusting and having faith in your dreams to bring them down into reality through the discipline, through the hard work and the talents that you have. So it can be hard because, like I said, there's the pressure of material reality. It can be hard to connect to that space. So you want to do whatever you can to really have those moments where you can be with yourself and have that quiet time with yourself and connect to these ideas and work on these things in any way you can and trust that these things will happen for you. This is the path, and you will feel it. You will feel within you. This is very like solar plexus and sacral chakra. Um, you'll feel that that is the right path. That is because this energy wants to be expressed. And if you're not expressing the energy, you can feel really frustrated. You can have bouts of anger and things like this. And this is the energy wanting to be expressed. So channel that into projects that you really find meaning in and that you really find yourself wanting to build a career out of. This is something that you've always wanted to do, but you've never had the chance to do. And now is the time to go for that. And trust that you will, the more that you express yourself, the more you will find opportunities and the more that you will find security. Trust that you will have what you need when you follow this path, when you take action on your creative ideas. You want also, I want to bring up because security is a huge theme that's coming in, and for most of your life, if not all your life, you've found security through, I'm getting that, in your household, um, there could have been like very up and down finances, or finances were something that were really talked about a lot, and this kind of got ingrained in your brain, and you've always been focused on this security, and that security has largely taken over your identity and your ability to move in the world, that searching for security, that sense of security. When you unlock this burden, for some of you, what I just said is that wound, that, and that could, what I just said could be that epiphany moment. But instead of searching for security outside of you, instead of chasing security in a job, under a boss, under an institution, under something outside of you, in another person, whatever it is, all of those routes, those seeking security, it's a way of avoiding this burden, because this burden is your insecurity. It is that sense of instability. And when you can unlock that and allow your self expression, allow your emotions and your creativity to flow freely, you will find security within yourself. And when you find that security within yourself, in your own emotional body, that is when you will find security in the external. You won't have to chase it. You will feel it in yourself, and you will have these opportunities come to you by taking action through your creativity, through your heart centered action. So, this is not an easy, 10 of Swords came out at the end. This is not an easy transition for you, but I feel like you're really being pushed against a wall here to find, it's like this creativity is being squeezed out of you. It's like you can't hold it in anymore. You can't avoid this path anymore. You have to walk on it. And once you start taking that creative action, not only do we have the 2 8s here, which I talked about, is you really finally receiving all of, like, because there's all this energy just here that you've kind of been running from, because you've been, always climbing the mountain, always swimming upstream. And it's like all of these things you wanted are sitting here trying to chase you down. When you get into this flow state, you're going to start receiving all of these things, and you're going to really find work enjoyable, find yourself really getting into a flow. And with the two tens here, this is the completion of this cycle. This is the end of this burden of the, if it's financial stress, emotional stress, um, feeling like have you don't have a solid community, people that you can really relate to. All of this is because of this emotional avoidance and the seeking security in the material world and the external world and not from within. So when you can go within and start walking that path, you will start exiting that cycle, and you'll notice the more that you express this creativity, the more that you start to work on these projects, the more your anxiety will ease, the more you will. And it's really important now to really tap into yourself, tap in, have like a meditation practice or something like that, so you can really quiet your mind and get in tune with what it is you really want and find the inspired action to take. All right, so we're going to get some advice cards for you here. Okay, and just what I just said, we have do a walking meditation each day for the next week. Now, obviously, it doesn't have to be a walking meditation, but any kind of practice you can do to just be with yourself, shut out the external world for a bit, and just allow, if you have anxious thoughts, allow them to come up and just recognize that that's an illusion and that's not aligned with what I want, um, and really start to channel this creative energy more. If you can get into a meditative space or just have a moment each day where you can shut out the external world and be with yourself, um, you will find it easier and easier to get into this flow state, to get into this state of trust, especially once you recognize what this wound is. It's really going to become clear that all of this is really an illusion and that it's safe to walk this creative path. It's safe for you. And I feel like that's a huge thing, is this is a lot of thoughts that have been ingrained in you, and like you've been trained to think this way, trained to think that things are unstable, that if you express yourself it's not stable. You could have had parents that told you you can't, you have to, be a doctor or a lawyer, you can't be an artist or something like that. And it is, the more you connect with yourself and the more you start taking action, the more you'll be able to trust that it is safe for you to do this. It's always been safe for you to express yourself. Okay, so we have, there's something out of balance in your life, do whatever you need to do to correct it. So right off the bat, I am getting, especially this being the mountain goat, and like I said, this is, I really get there's a lot of heavy Capricorn energy in this reading. Um, you could really be going through a struggle when it comes to your material life, your career, your finances, your home, whatever it is. Um, Now, when I read this card, the first thing that like my logical mind thought was like, oh, my my material life is out of balance. I have to work harder to sort things out, and that's not what the actual balance that this is speaking of. Um, your material life is out of balance because this Pluto transit is showing you um, everything that's an illusion, everything that's dead weight, everything that is holding you back from aligning with your true path here. And so, what's out of balance is this emotional energy, this giving and receiving energy. And your material world can be falling apart right now, not because you're doing something wrong, not because you've let your material life slide out of balance, but because this, your emotional self, your creative self, has been stifled. So there's an imbalance where you're heavily focused on the material world, and you're you're not focused on your inner world and your self-expression. So you want to start to balance those things. Don't get so lost in the emotional realm, especially because we're in Pisces season, lost in the emotional realm that you forget your um material responsibilities, but don't be so stressed out about the material that you're stifling your creative self. Okay, and then we have keep your sense of humor, don't take things too seriously. That's really important when you're going through heavy energies like this. It's very easy, especially if you are a Capricorn. I have a Capricorn stellium and a Cap moon, so I understand it's very easy to um, when things get hard, it's very easy to be like, okay, I have to focus, I have to grind myself to the bone. Um, when it's just important to be a little lighthearted during these times, and the more that you're able to develop this inner sense of faith, inner knowing, connecting with your intuition, the easier it will be for you to develop the sense of humor when things do go wrong, when you do miss out on an opportunity. Instead of freaking out and panicking, you're able to be like, oh, that just wasn't the one. That's just not the path that I'm trying to go on right now. And so really when thing and this will keep you in a lighter state, because again, with this balance, you don't want to be overly stressed, overly focused on the material, grinding yourself to the bone. So when you do think, just keep that sense of humor. So when things are stressful, you're able to still slip into that space where you can shut out the external world, focus on your intuition, focus on what you really want, and focus on that faith to keep going in the direction you need to go in. And so, adding a bit of lighthearted energy will really help ease the stress. And the more you can ease that stress, the more you can lift this heavy energy off of you. And the easier it will be to come into alignment with the opportunities that are meant for you. All right, so that's what I have for you guys. Thank you for watching. Please leave a comment and like the video if it resonated. And please subscribe if you feel called to exploring more topics like this. I'd really like to grow this channel. And if you would like a personal reading, I will link it in the description below. And I will see you next time. Hi, Pile 2. Welcome to your reading. And this is how you can find direction in this time of transition and move into alignment with your spiritual path, your destiny, whatever term you prefer to use for it. So let's get into it. Okay, we have partnership, truth, the dragon with power and strength, and the cow, nourishment, abundance, asking, and receiving. So there's a need for you to either ask people for help, delegate tasks right now, um, find people who you can find support in, and learn to trust people in your groups, in your communities, in your network. I feel with the dragon here that you are, and with this, the cow energy here, that you are somebody who works very hard, and you are somebody who is very self-reliant, very independent. And I think that you have issues when it comes to asking for help, when it comes to trusting other people, because you've been pushed into this hyper independent role. And I think that for you, asking for help and on a deeper level, trusting others, opening yourself up to be vulnerable, to um, really fully participate in an interdependent community. There's part of you that um, shies away from doing that or feels blocked from doing that, because I feel that there's this ingrained idea that to do, or it's a subconscious impulse that to do so would be to take away from your power, your strength, that people would see you as weak. But it's something that could really benefit you when it comes to your material life, when it comes to anything you're trying to grow. This cow energy is like Taurus energy here. Um, Trying to grow something, trying to build something, trying to make more money, or whatever it is for you, trusting in partnerships is going to help you grow that exponentially and in a way that you didn't imagine it could happen, or could be very unconventional. But this is largely to do with whatever you're trying to do right now. Becoming part of a community is and working with others is what's going to get you there. I feel this is very much like the Aries Libra axis, where there's a tendency to lean towards hyper independence, and or a tendency to overly um, become codependent on others, right? And you want to balance these two things. You want to maintain that strength and that independence and those skills, but you also want to be able to open yourself up to, not just work with people. Like, sure, you can partner up with somebody, but you're still kind of closed off. You want to really allow yourself to be vulnerable, build connections, trust people, and really grow something from there. And realize that this actually does not take away from your power, from your strength, or from this identity you have for yourself, but it actually deepens it and benefits you in a lot of ways. So that's what's blocking you right now. And I also want to say that if you find yourself in a position right now, because if you are somebody who's grown up, um, having to be very hyper independent and not really having people that you could rely on, or that you thought you could rely on, and you find yourself in this situation now, you find yourself in this time of transition where you are surrounded by people that maybe you can't trust, because whatever this uh, whatever it is that led you to hyper independence, this subconscious impulse, has also surrounded you with relationships that are not conducive to your goals, are not healthy, and you might have found that you've needed to protect your talents, protect your assets, protect things from the people around you right now. And if you are going through that as well, it is a good time to start to think about how you can break away from those things and start something on your own. Start to meet people in different circles. If you feel that you can't, um, share the wealth you have, and whatever, it doesn't have to be like material riches or anything, but whatever form of wealth and abundance you have that you feel like you need to protect from the people around you right now, it's time to start moving in a separate direction from those people. And you could also, what is coming through, find yourself feeling alone right now if you are somebody that is going through this type of transition with friendships and partnerships, where you feel like these people are, you just don't connect with them how you used to. You feel like maybe um, people are starting to grow distant, or you're starting to grow distant. And this is not for you to chase and try to put things back together, but for you to allow these things to fall away. Because if you have been feeling like you have to protect yourself, instinctually, like subconsciously, um, protect your abundance, protect your talents, or whatever, like you can't express the truth of who you are to people, um, it's time for you to move away, not and build a new community, find a new community. You have the skill of hyper independence, the skills that come with being raised that way, or becoming that way. Um, those aren't, it's not all bad. It's good. The skills that you've learned through being hyper independent, through being self reliant, are very valuable, because now that you're in this situation and you might feel this anxiety about starting something new, about leaving these situations, um, you have the strength within you and the independence to strike out on your own and go your own way. So this is that's what the blockage is for you, is that you need to finally just allow yourself to go in a separate direction from the people that you're with now. Who who these people are. If you feel instinctually that you can't express yourself to them, you can't trust them with your talents, with your authenticity, with your wealth, then you know that it's time to break away from these situations. And I feel that you may have been stuck in these situations for a long time. And we'll get to the core of this. Is like, yes, in the beginning I said you need to be allowing yourself to be open to partnerships, be more vulnerable, share yourself, share your talents, and build something with others. So that's the direction you're headed in. That's what's going to align you with where you need to be going. But I'm not saying that to say, if you feel like you instinctually can't trust people, then open yourself up to them. And, no, this is about whatever it is that has pushed you to lean into hyper independence, pushed you to block off this giving, receiving energy from in yourself. Um, Whatever that anxiety, that situation is that has caused you to block off your ability to receive and really be open with people, it has throughout your life built an environment where you're surrounded by people that you cannot be open with, you can't be yourself with, because you've lived your whole life being closed off. So the people that are in your life know you as the person that you are. And this could be, I don't want to throw out any a psychological term or anything, but you could have a lot of people that take advantage of you, or a lot of narcissists in your life, because you're someone who's blocked off receiving, blocked off really being able to fully express yourself in relationships, and you might find yourself taken advantage by others oftentimes, and that's led you to be even more hyper independent, and it's just a cycle that keeps going on and on. So if you feel like that's falling apart, if you feel like you're alone even when you're with your friends, because you've just, in a lot of cases, this could also be just simply outgrowing people. Just this, you also realizing your strengths, your gifts, your abilities, the direction that you really want to go in. And the people that you're around might not really understand that or align with that. And it can be very isolating. And so you could feel like these things are falling apart, that your relationships are falling apart. With the Nine of Swords and the Page of Cups, this could be a romantic partnership, and it's not an easy situation to go through. But what this is pushing you towards is going your own way, because if the relationships in your life are falling apart, it's because they're not aligned with your authentic self. You're really being pushed now to whether you've always known your own inner strength, you've always known your abilities, you've always known what it is you really want to create in the world, or you're just coming into that understanding now. There's a realization now that a lot of the relationships in your life are not conducive to your goals, they're not aligned with who you are, and a lot of times because some of you have been so closed off to receiving energy, um, a lot of these people don't actually know your authentic self, and you could shy away from showing that to them. So there's a lot of anxiety that comes around here. And I will say, with the Page of Cups coming out here, I'm not saying this to be harsh, but if you had your hopes up for some kind of romantic relationship, or you're worried about losing um, this person is not on your level. And you don't want to get all stressed out about that, because that's, if it's not working, it's not meant to be on come on this path with you. And this person's not on your level. Either you are coming into the realization of your own inner strength, and how, through your life being hyper independent in this way, you've developed an immense strength. And you are either coming into the understanding of what those skills and abilities actually mean, and what you can actually do with them when you really become more interdependent, or you've always known this and you've kind of repressed it and hid it down. And, that can bring you into relationships with people who are not on your level, but you might have brought yourself down to their level. And that's, again, why these people don't know your authentic self, because you've brought yourself down to people that can't even give you. This is deep, because, when you have that blocked receiving energy, um, this is a deep cycle where you have this blocked receiving energy. And so you've partnered with, became friends with people who are not able to give you what you're worth. And now you're going through this big transition when it comes to your relationships, that's pushing you to be your authentic self. And you could have anxiety because these relationships are falling away, but these relationships weren't on your level. And the more these relationships pull away, the more you're being pushed to take an honest look at why you are chasing these people, why you want these people in your life, because these people are not able to give you what you actually deserve. And now is the time where, this dragon energy, this power, this strength, this understanding of your real skills and abilities and how you can apply them in your life, you're going to come into full understanding of this now, and really start to see how these people aren't on my level, and I was bringing myself down to that level, but I really need more in my relationships. And that's the big breakthrough. So when you're feeling anxious, especially if this is about a person, if you're like attached to a person, chasing a person, whatever the case is, um, when you're in this anxious state, try to observe why you feel anxious, why you feel the need to chase. What do these people actually, what is the dynamic of your relationship? What do they do for you? Are you giving way more than you've ever received from them? Do you feel comfortable expressing yourself authentically with them? Are you just, you know, thinking about their potential and what it would be like if they could come with you on this path, and all these things? And you will start to see the truth that this person isn't on your level, or these people aren't on your level. They're actually quite immature. And the more you can analyze these anxious thoughts, or not analyze, but observe the anxious thoughts, and come into this understanding of what makes your mind work that way, what spikes these anxious feelings, you will uncover that blockage. when it comes to your giving and receiving, when it comes to your self-worth and your identity of putting everything on your shoulders and not delegating, not asking for help. All of that is behind this anxiety when it comes to these relationships. So don't try to control people right now. Don't try to chase people. Don't try to pull people back into your life if people are distancing themselves. If you want distance, let it happen, because not only are you going to realize a lot about the relationships in your life right now and how they're not conducive to who you're becoming and the path you're going on, but also you're going to allow everyone to go through what they need to go through also, because there could be people that everyone's going through this really heavy transition energy right now, and you're going to allow these people, when you don't try to control the outcome of a situation, when you don't try to pull people back into your life, um, you're going to allow people to go through their own healing process, their own healing journey, and allow people to come to you as when they're ready to do that, when they're ready to meet you on your level. So let the let the distance happen. Let these people move away from your life for now. And don't try to fixate on an outcome. Don't try to force anything, control anything. You want to focus on you, your inner world, your strengths, what you want to do, what you want to build, and not specific people that you'd like to be with or work with, or that can be part of it, but you want to more so focus on, when it comes to partnerships, when it comes to my work colleagues, when it comes to my network, what do I want? If I have a problem with being vulnerable and trusting, and expressing my authentic self, who would I feel comfortable doing that with? How would that feel? What do those partnerships look like? What do they feel like? How do they work? How do we build things together? And you want to focus on that energy. You don't want to focus on trying to squeeze it out of somebody, out of trying to force somebody to be like this, to think like this, to move in a more spiritual direction, to realize their full potential. You can. You have to bring it back in, focus on yourself, and allow everyone else to go through this in their own time as they're going to, and move on their path. So you want to think what you want in relationships, what makes you feel good, what makes you feel like you can express yourself, what makes you feel like you can trust someone. Focus on those things and start, when the distance happens with the people in your life now, allow it to happen, and start moving into spaces where you can meet people that you are aligned with, that you can express yourself authentically with, that you know are aligned with what you really want and what you really deserve, and are capable of giving you what you deserve, are capable of giving instead of taking advantage. So you want to trust that whatever you need and want in a relationship, what you deserve in a relationship, is out there, and you just need to let go of the situation you're in with people right now in order to allow these opportunities and these relationships to come through. A big part of this, though, before any of that happens, is being able to go your own way and being able to let go of the past, let go of this heaviness, and move into a new direction on your own. A lot of this partnership energy as well could be due to codependency, could be due to, overextending yourself to others. Like I said, you could be in like a narcissistic situation, or you're just always overextending yourself to people, but when it comes to you, you don't tell people you need help. You're the weight is always on your shoulders. um, you don't tell people what's going on. So you want to start giving yourself that kind of love, that kind of priority, that kind of value. Start pouring that into yourself and start really taking the steps to express your authentic self. You don't want to, like, think about what you really want, how you really want to live, who you really want to be, what you really want to create, and think about how that makes you feel and just use that feeling to just go towards that and express your authentic self. There could be this tendency when you think about, you're expressing your authentic self, you're walking this path and you're feeling like yourself and you're starting to go places that you've always wanted to go, but your other friends didn't like it, or you never allowed yourself to enjoy those things due to um, the people you were around or the situations you were in. And now you're going to enjoy those things that you never let yourself enjoy, or do the things you never let yourself, and really express yourself. And then things start moving and you feel good, and then there's this tendency to, that Nine of Swords comes in and it wants to tug at you and it wants you to pull people back into your life and it wants you to fall back. Um, and when you think about that and you let the anxiety get the better of you, this could be a tendency to go back to these old relationships. And even though you were just having, really coming into contact with your authentic self, doing all the things you've always wanted to do, really building that trust in yourself, and then the toxic people in your life or these old relationships come back and you're like, oh, I can't really do that around them, or I can't tell them this, and I can't be this way around them. And you don't want to stifle yourself off for the sake of keeping these things in your life. Allow things to fall away and trust that you are going to meet people that are aligned with you and are capable of giving you what you need. Because the thing is, even if you were to do all this healing work and be like, okay, I am open and vulnerable, the fact is that these people that have been brought into your life up until this point, they aren't on your level emotionally. And even if you were open and you were perfectly healed and whatever the case, perfectly open, um, these people aren't capable. They have nothing to give. They're not on your level. So you want to let these things fall away anyway, and you want to move in your direction of authenticity. And what this starts with, you know, the Six of Swords here and the Hangman, this is it's not a simple process. Like, okay, I got rid of these friends and now I'm going to hang out here and I'm meeting all these new friends instantly. This is a longer process because it's about, understanding a deeper spiritual side of yourself, understanding a darker part of yourself, bringing light into a really dark area of, like, eighth house um, topics where we're talking about, giving and receiving, and, you know, other people maybe taking advantage, and all of these types of things. We're talking about looking into some dark aspects of our psyche and bringing light into those places. And the Six of Swords, this is a bit of a slow moving journey. It is um, not the easiest journey. And it's not like you're going to meet a bunch of new people right away. A big chunk of this time you're going through, this transition you're going through now, is recognizing that what this issue with trust is, what this issue with vulnerability is, what this issue with giving and receiving is, where that anxiety stems from, and that need to pull people into your life or hang on to people in this way. Understanding where all of these come from and building yourself up. Everything that you want in a partnership, everything you've been giving and giving and giving to these people that could never give back to you, you give it to yourself. You make yourself a priority now, and you let people distance themselves, let people fall away, and continue to make yourself a priority and go in the direction you want to go, and separate yourself from codependency to be independent in your authenticity. And from there, you will meet the people that are aligned with you, and you can create interdependent relationships, and you'll have that balance of the independence and the partnerships. All right, so let's get some advice. Okay, yeah, so we have the dog. Your loyalty and faithfulness is misplaced by serving too many masters. Do not put yourself on the back burner for the sake of pleasing others in any way. You want to make yourself a priority. You have your goals, you have your dreams. You focus on that. You focus on yourself. You focus on your self-worth, your value, uncovering that and really stepping into that and taking your energy back from any people that you've overextended yourself to, or what people that keep it taking and taking and taking. And you don't diminish yourself for the sake of keeping other people happy. Don't make other people happy at your own expense. All these kinds of things. Take your power back from all of these people and go your own way. Okay, so we have use your intuition and your intellect to solve the problem and get answers to your question. And I really think that is speaking to you, connecting with yourself intuitively. Like I said, when you're in these anxious moments, especially when it's in relation to your partnerships, use that as an opportunity to connect with yourself, observe the anxious thoughts, observe the anxiety, and connect with you, who you actually are, the observer, and that will uncover a lot of answers to what the struggle really is. It's not just on the outside; it manifests as these toxic partnerships or whatever the case is, but what is really going on in the internal world, in what is really the blockage that is creating these situations. So connecting with your intuition, connecting with yourself in those times of stress is going to bring you a lot of clarity. And also, be wise about if you're in these old situations, if you're in these relationships that cause you anxiety while you're trying to build yourself up and express yourself, use your discernment, be smart. You know how to navigate these situations. Don't Again, don't diminish yourself for the sake of keeping others happy. Be yourself and use your discernment with who you can and cannot share things with, who you can and cannot take on this new path with you. And then we have express yourself through rhythm and movement by drumming and dancing. And I think this really speaks to just expressing your authenticity. Um, being allowing yourself to be yourself, to have fun, to always do the things that you've always wanted to do, but you've never given yourself the time, or just pouring into yourself in that way, and really having fun doing all the things that you always wanted to do, but you were way too overextended in these relationships to move in that direction fully. Really have fun, express yourself, explore new things, explore new places. Um, you know, really get to know yourself, become secure in yourself, so that when the time comes to meet the people that are meant to be in your life, um, you will be able to be fully grounded in yourself and fully express yourself. All right, guys, that's what I have for you. Thank you so much for watching. If this resonated, please like and comment and let me know if you like this reading. And if you feel called, please subscribe, because I'd really like to grow the channel and do more things with it. And if you'd like a personal reading, I will link it in the description below. And I'll see you next time. Hi, Pile 3. Welcome to your reading on how you can find direction and align with your life's path, your life's purpose, your destiny, whatever you want to call it, in this time of confusion and transition. So, for you, we have the Stag, which is pride and leadership, love, risk, and the dog, which is loyalty, sincerity, unconditional love. Okay, so this time has to do with you taking on some kind of leadership role, taking direction over your life, and doing this from a place of love, cultivating self love, and through having that knowledge of your self worth and this love for yourself, that this compels you to be able to take risks and to be able to lead yourself in the direction that you want to go in. I feel that things can be confusing for you now because you're being pushed into this leadership role. You're being pushed to take control over your life, take control of situations, and really push forward with confidence. And I feel that you've been held back from that for a while. And the reason being is this lack of confidence in the self, questioning whether what you have to share is valuable, having imposter syndrome, things like this. And so you've always wanted to take this kind of risk. You've always wanted to move in this direction. But there was this missing piece when it came to how you valued yourself, how you expressed yourself. And that has always kind of prevented you from taking that leap and taking that risk. But in this time period, you're learning about, your self-love, your self-value, um, putting yourself as a priority in order to direct your life and really lead others as well. So, especially if this risk that you've wanted to take has been in a public role, um, this is a time where you're really being asked to like step up and start building that, start putting yourself out there. And I feel that whatever this wound has been that's around love, around value, around feeling like questioning if you're qualified to even be in this leadership position. These things are all coming to the surface now so that you can address them and get rid of those illusions so that you can really step into this power. Whatever has happened here that is like a wound to your ego. You may be somebody who's always stayed in the background, who's been very humble. You let other people shine, even though you've always really had this kind of sense of will or power in you, but you've always really let other people shine before you and things like this because you weren't ready to take on that role. And there's some kind of discovery to be made about your belief in yourself, your belief in your abilities, and your self worth in general that will really unlock the confidence that you need in order to take that risk. Because when you have this confidence, the risk won't really seem like a risk at all. It will just seem like moving towards your goals. So right now, if you are feeling lost, if you feel like things are falling apart, this is because the things that are being reflected to you now, especially when other people, we had the Knight of Cups come out reverse, um, Justice on the bottom of the deck, things falling apart, or you might find yourself right now being involved in some really karmic situations where a lot of everything kind of feels like it's action and reaction very quickly, and it's um, could be bringing up some drama. It could be bringing up a lot of deeper things, a lot of it could be triggering a lot of emotions and a lot of um, thoughts and feelings within you related to this imposter syndrome, this self love, this self worth, and what it really means to um, what it means to you to be in a connection, to um, really have that sense of trust and loyalty. And the situations happening around you now are triggering you to look at what is blocking you from feeling like you are worthy of taking on this leadership role. You're worthy of stepping into your confidence and moving towards what you want. um, this risk only seems like a risk because you lack the confidence to go on that path. And I also want to say this too, because this is coming up. In pile two, it was heavily talking about partnerships and relationships, and these could be related in some way. I feel like this is a deeper aspect of the advice in pile two. But anyway, um, the situations happening in your life now are reflecting to you this insecurity, this imposter syndrome. It's really pushing you to say you have this value in yourself. It's pushing you to look at these energies and these thoughts and these feelings that you've carried within yourself for so long, so they can be addressed, so that you can take this risk. And when you find yourself building up that confidence and you're finally ready to take that risk, you'll realize that the risk isn't really a risk at all. It's just you pushing yourself on the path to um, really embrace who you are as an individual and walk that path. And it might seem scary for you to do at first, but the more you do that, the more you act when you feel capable, the more it will have like the snowball effect where you can walk the path more easily until it becomes your new norm and is just every day, and you are this leader. And the sense of imposter syndrome, the sense of feeling a bit insecure about who you are and your capabilities, that just seems like such a small thing in comparison to all you will accomplish when you finally take this risk. When you look back on it, you will see how much of an illusion it was and how ridiculous it was. Okay, so Seven of Wands, Knight of Cups reversed. Like I said, you could be coming into a lot of karmic situations with people right now that reflect deep, deep wounds, insecurities. And this could be something that you've been dealing with time and time again, and you couldn't really quite figure out why you kept attracting these kind of people, why they kept coming up, and why it's been a theme for so many years of your life. And whatever happens now is really going to get right to the point where you're going to realize immediately that this is why you feel this way, and this is why you've been living this pattern, and how that's related to your sense of self and your self love and your confidence in yourself. And you will be breaking this cycle with people. You will be breaking this cycle of living this relationship pattern. I feel also with the Seven of Wands here, I feel that you've known you've known this about your relationships for a while, and you couldn't figure out what the missing thing was, what the secret to success was, how to move forward in your life, how to break out of, and not just in love, but in everything. I feel how to break out of this cycle where if you're feeling stuck in your career, you're feeling stuck just anywhere in your life right now, and it's like, how do I break that wall? How do I get to the next level of success? How do I stop living these patterns in relationships, and how do I move into the new cycle? Because I feel like you've recognized these things about yourself already. You've known these for a long time, and you've been trying to protect yourself from them. You've been, doing a lot of inner healing. You've been doing a lot of reflection, and you've unlocked so much about yourself, and you've been protecting yourself from situations that are a repeating pattern, that are not healthy for you, but that has left you kind of isolated now, because it's like now you've protected yourself to the point that there's hardly anyone you can really be around, because you realize um, how certain people in certain situations have been so toxic. So now you're like, where do I go from here? Because I've protected myself from all these people, but now I'm alone, and I don't know what direction to take from here. And the only reason that it's like you've protected yourself and you've isolated yourself, but now um, you're not in that next cycle where you're going to be meeting the new people, you're going to be attracting the new opportunities. And the reason you've been at this standstill is because the missing piece was this self-worth, the self-love, the self-confidence, um, moving past imposter syndrome. I am so sorry about the banging. I don't know what's happening, but but yeah, this was the missing piece, the addressing that wound when it comes to self-confidence, and really stepping into your courage, your strength, and this leadership, however that is. It doesn't mean you have to be leading a mass company or a group of people, but just self leadership, self ownership, taking direction, taking authority over your life. And this was the missing piece, and this is why you've been kind of stuck, where you recognized all these toxic things, you protected yourself from them, and now you're just here. You're like, what do I do now? So now you might find the Six of Cups here. If you have been in this spot where you find yourself, you're still engaging with people because you're like, well, I spend a lot of time alone, and because I recognize all the stuff, I do the inner work, and then it's like, I want to go out, I want to have fun, I want to socialize. So you find yourself coming into contact with, some people from the past, or um, people that bring about this feeling. I don't know how to explain it. The feeling that these people can bring out in you when you come into contact with them, especially if this was a romantic situation, it can really, you've lived this cycle many times in your relationships, but there's something about this time that because you understand these cycles so well and you've protected yourself so much, when this situation triggers you this time, you are able to just see exactly what that wound is, exactly why you're feeling the way you're feeling about this situation, about this person, and you're able to pinpoint it, and you're able to have this breakthrough very quickly. And when you have that breakthrough, that's when things start happening, and they start happening very quickly, because this Eight of Wands, not only is it things happening very quickly, but it's you taking action, you expressing yourself, because now you understand what those wounds were, and you're not going to self-sabotage anymore. You're going to start taking the risk in any way you can. You're going to start moving towards what you want. And even though you might not fully be fully healed. There are some days where you might feel like you're slipping back when it comes to this feeling of imposter syndrome or whatever it is, but you push through it anyway and you keep going, and that builds a lot of momentum. And this is about communication largely as well. It's about when you take that risk to, say what you want to say, feel how you want to feel, and express your wants and needs and values so that you can attract the people that are aligned with who you are now. I feel that in the relationships that you might currently feel stuck in, you haven't really, because this missing piece was the self-worth and the courage and the strength. um, Even though you recognize these patterns and these cycles happening to you over and over again, there was still kind of the why does it keep happening? Like, I recognize it, I'm trying to avoid it. Why does it keep happening? And a lot of this had to do with not only understanding your worth, like truly understanding your worth, not just like when everyone says, shares the memes about self-worth and loving yourself, but like truly understanding it. You're going to truly understand how, you have the right to everything you want and how you can unapologetically go for it, and that you can be the best and you are the best, and like these kind of things, really building up your self-confidence. It's like you might have known that, but you didn't truly understand it until this point. And now that you truly understand it, you can start to embody it each and every day by taking these small actions and steps towards what you really want, and steps towards pouring into yourself. And when when you really feel that, that's when you're going to be able to start expressing yourself to others, because a big problem is that the people that are in your life right now are people that you met before you were understanding this aspect of yourself, and before you were willing to express your your needs and your values and your wants. And that could be because up until now you weren't even really sure what those were. You weren't really sure what your values and your wants were. And now you're really understanding that, and you're able to express them to people. So not only do you have the skill now of being able to discern who these people are, what these situations are that don't align with you, but you're also able to protect your energy from these people and take that skill and move it into the next phase of your life, where you're going to be expressing your self-worth, and you're going to be attracting people that meet your standards, meet your expectations, and understand your value, as well as leaving behind people that don't align with this, or bypassing people, because you'll be actively expressing who you are and your values and what you deserve, and you'll be going for what you deserve, and you'll be putting yourself as a priority. And everyone else that can't meet up with, though can't match up, they fall away, or they don't even come into your life at all. And you'll be attracting the people that are actually meant to be with you. So, and then we had the Justice card come out again. And this is really showing that whatever it is you're going through right now, it is the cleansing of this imbalance, this karmic wound that you could have carried with you for a very long time. And it's really whatever is happening to you right now that makes you feel like things are falling apart, um, like you're alone, like you don't know what direction to take. And you could be feeling a lot of emotions, a lot of emotional intensity right now. And this is due to these deep wounds and these deep emotions coming up to the surface to really finally be balanced and released, and so that you can move forward, because all of these things that are coming up now, they are needing to be recognized as the illusions that they are, as the blockages that they are, when it comes to you embodying this leadership, embodying this confidence, and taking authority over your life and asserting your values and who you are into the world. So if you feeling stuck right now, this is the way forward. It is to, keep practicing the inner work, keep pouring into yourself. Don't allow yourself to become so attached to anything that's falling apart right now, whether that's, or anything that's not working out right now, whether that is a relationship or any kind of other opportunity here. It's not working out because what this situation was meant to do is to trigger these feelings and fears that have prevented you from stepping into your confidence and stepping onto this path that feels like a risk right now, but it's really the path that is aligned with your dreams. And it feels like a risk only because there's so much fear and worry around expressing yourself, expressing who you are, and putting yourself out there confidently, to understanding your value, knowing your value, and being able to navigate the world in that way and not compromise yourself, not back down if people don't agree with what you want, and things like this. So it feels like a risk because there's all these illusions, this wound, these blockages. And once these things clear up, this what feels like a risk, it will seem like a no-brainer to really walk this path. It won't really feel like a risk at all. And the more you walk down it, the easier it becomes. So what's happening now, if you feel alone, if you feel like relationships aren't working out, you can't meet new people, you can't, whatever, things are falling apart, your emotions are reeling, it is time to reflect on these emotions. It's time to understand what the root cause of these emotions are, and really start to cultivate that real self-love. Not the way people share memes about it, but like actually truly believing it, truly understanding that, integrating that into yourself to move into this next cycle. So the way out of the rut you're in right now is to really pour into yourself, really make yourself a priority, really start to practice embodying self-confidence, whether that's through whatever it is you do. um, you know, even if you want to just say affirmations, just do little things to build trust, build a self-care routine, things that allow you to pour into yourself. Work on the goals you have with the Nine of Pentacles here. This is, work on the goals you have. If you want to achieve new heights in your career, if you want to make more money, um, start to work on those things. Don't worry about what everyone else is doing. Don't worry about, you know, pouring all yourself into somebody who is also going through a big transition and is not ready to even give or receive anything at this time. And you're going to be pouring all your energy into them and draining yourself. And you want to be really pouring into yourself now and walking this path, building what you want to build for yourself. And this is going to bring you a lot of financial abundance and a lot of happiness. And you will feel this weight lifted off of you when these energies are cleared, these blockages are cleared. So don't get all caught up in the mess of the external world, the mess of the emotions. Like, yes, obviously, especially if you're dealing with a love situation, they can make you feel sick, literally, where you can't do anything else. So you want to, in those times, just take the time to be with yourself and feel what you need to feel. Don't intellectualize it. Don't try to protect yourself from feeling this way, like um, try to mask it or distract yourself from it. Let yourself feel it, let yourself be alone and feel it, go through it, release it, and balance your energy. That is the point of this whole cycle right now. So that when, so that this is like to prepare you, because this risk, this path you're about to walk into your success, and we pulled this card, you're a lot tougher than you think you are. So the risk you're about to take, or this path you're about to walk, is going to bring you into a new kind of arena in your life. You're going to have a lot of financial success, yes, but this is kind of building you up to be the person you need to be to enter these situations, to create the business you want, to create the success you want. Because whatever this situation is around self-love, self-value, and really having confidence and courage in yourself, you need to really integrate this and understand it and know it and be able to walk that path confidently, because of the situations you will encounter, especially if you're somebody who is dealing with the public or online in a mass scale. Like, this will help you develop the skills you need to navigate this new cycle, this new job, this new venture, these new relationships. um, you need to have this wound cleared. This energy needs to be balanced. And if you've been trying to manifest this growth for quite some time, because we're talking about how you could have been feeling alone and you could have been feeling stuck because you've understood all these cycles, but you didn't have that missing piece to really break out of the situation yet. um, this has all been to build you up to balance these energies and become the person that you need to be to enter these new situations, to enter these new relationships and navigate them accordingly. You're becoming a lot stronger because of this. And if you've been trying to manifest something and you felt stuck, it's because this needed to be balanced, this needed to be released in order for you to enter this new cycle, to enter this new arena in your life. And this card is also simply a reminder that whatever you're going through right now, you're a very strong person. And know that this is all happening to make you stronger, to prepare you for the chapter of your life that you're about to enter into. And you're able to get through this, even if your emotions are reeling. There's a lot of things from the past coming up. There's a lot of feelings of maybe rejection or whatever the case right now. You are able to deal with that. You have all the skills and all the tools you need to navigate the situation, even if it seems very difficult. And then we have, you are too enmeshed in the situation. Take a step back and see the bigger picture before making any decisions or taking action. And I feel that this is really important right now because, like I said, there are karmic situations that you're coming into that are meant to reflect whatever this wound is, so that it can be transmuted. And so that's why it's important to pull your energy back and sit with yourself and allow yourself to privately feel the emotions, get through them, and then make decisions about what your next move is from there. But don't get so enmeshed in these emotions, enmeshed in fear of rejection or fear of missing out on something, or whatever the case is, where you find yourself having to chase or control a situation, and you're acting impulsively while your emotions are reeling, and you can get yourself wrapped up in a bigger mess here, especially if this is a romantic situation. So just take time to allow yourself to feel emotions. Even if it takes 2 or 3 days, don't just act impulsively out of the intensity of your feelings right now. because this is all happening to address something that's actually deep within you, and not so much has to do with needing these situations to work out or not. Everything is happening the way it needs to. And then we have, there's something out of balance in your life, so do whatever you need to do to correct it. So that's exactly speaking to the need for this energy to be balanced, and the need for you to take this time out to really not intellectualize but really feel and process and release these emotions, and then really understand why you're feeling what you're feeling, and um, allowing these energies to balance, and they will balance themselves out as you walk this path. So it's important that you continue to pour into yourself and not get too um, overly involved, overly invested in any situation right now that's really triggering you. It's making you real emotionally, and um, it's taking up a lot of your time, your mental and emotional energy. Um, that will throw you out of balance. So you want to take a step back and pour into yourself, because a lot of this imbalance has to do with you playing yourself small and you giving yourself too much of yourself to others that are not, that are simply a reflection of this wound. That's what's really going on right now. So you're balancing all of this right now. And if you're feeling lost, if you're feeling stuck, if you're feeling alone, just keep pouring into yourself, keep walking. Whatever this path is that you're like, face your fears when it comes to that and keep walking that path. Keep pouring into yourself. Practice self care, practice things that make you feel good, that you can cultivate self trust through doing. And you will start to see the momentum build from there, and you will be out of this situation before you know it, as long as you can realize that this external situation is triggering and reflecting energies that need to be transmuted and balanced within you. And you don't need to um, like the card says, enmesh yourself in the situation so much that it drains you mentally and emotionally. All right, that's what I have for you guys. Thank you for watching. If you resonated with this, please like and leave a comment, and subscribe if you feel called, because I'd really like to grow this channel and do more with it. And if you'd like a personal reading, I will link it below. And I will see you next time. Hi, Pile 4. Welcome to your reading on how you can find direction and move into alignment with your life path. So let's get started. So we have the Wasp, which is anger, retaliation, and jealousy, birth and rebirth. The Hawk, omens and messages, wealth, and the mystery. So what I'm getting for you guys is that you're in the process of creating something new. And this largely has to do with your material life, your work, your wealth. Um, but with the hawk here and the mystery, I feel that you're a very spiritual person. You are, and you're moving now onto that spiritual path. You could be pursuing something in spirituality, or trying to move your life in a direction that more aligns with your spirituality. You could have denied these parts of yourself for a very long time, and now you're coming into a time where you're really embracing that and you're trying to walk on this new path. I feel that there have been manifestations that you've been trying to come into for a long time, and it just hasn't been the time. And I feel that up until this point, a lot of the situations you've been through in your life have been to awaken you into a more spiritual understanding of yourself and of your life, and um, more importantly, how you can have more power and influence over the material world than you think, how you can really control what you create, control your destiny, and um, have this sense of power when it comes to your material life. You might have felt disempowered in your material life for a very long time, and this is a time where you're coming into the wealth that you've desired, the manifestations that you've desired that you might have had to go without for a very long time. But you're learning in this process because you've been trying to manifest something for a very long time and it hasn't been coming. And I think you're realizing now that part of the way to align with this manifestation, to align with the abundance that you want, has been to really embody these more spiritual aspects of yourself. They're kind of like it's knowledge or gifts that have you've been denying or have been repressed, and in order to actualize and materialize the things that you want, you have to align yourself in a more spiritual way. And this is very unnerving. It's very uncertain because with the mystery card here, this is very, you're moving in a way that people don't necessarily understand in society. You know, people with 9 to 5 jobs and, you know, the white picket fence and all that, these could be things that you don't even want. That's not part of what your idea of wealth is. And because of that, you're navigating a path that is unseen, unknown. People haven't ventured that way before, or you have very few people that you can read about or watch interviews with or whatever that you can kind of look to for kind of guidance at this time. And people don't understand, and you might fear even being looked down upon or looking stupid because of the path you're choosing to take, because people in uh, conventional society, they don't understand this path. But this is something, because you're so connected spiritually, that it seems like the obvious path to you. But it's very uncertain, it's very unnerving, and you're relying heavily on your intuition and your spiritual knowledge and your spiritual gifts and your connection with your higher self at this time to really navigate this situation, which is comforting in a way, but at the same time makes it more unnerving because there's nothing tangible that you can really rely on at this time that you can. And it's hard to talk to people if you don't have friends that are um, involved in spirituality in this way. There could not be too many people to talk to about it that would understand or tell you to stop trying to manifest that, stop trying to go for your dreams. So, with the wasp here and the birth, I know we're kind of moving backwards, but the wasp and the birth rebirth card, you a big thing that has blocked you from having access to what you're trying to manifest is this energy of this frustration, this self-criticism, this, you know, it says anger and retaliation here, but I feel that's been like directed towards yourself, toward you, um, maybe beating yourself up over things or telling yourself to work harder, or just being in a really dark place um, for a long time, and, you know, having a lot of self-criticism and just anger directed inwards that had been building up for years and years. And this, I think, the more that you've been put into material situations where you felt lack, where you felt that things weren't coming to you, the more this anger builds up, the more that you're put into these kind of situations. And so this birth, rebirth, this is your rebirth into finally releasing this self anger and really and releasing the self criticism so that you can really align with your higher self. If you pick this pile, you're somebody who's very in tune spiritually, or you're acknowledging that now and you're really coming into this. And I think because you've made the decision now to, like I said, you could have been somebody that's kind of denied this from yourself for a long time throughout your life and tried to live a more conventional life, and that built up more self criticism and more internalized anger. And you're going to notice now that you've chose to not deny yourself this more spiritual path, to not deny yourself your dreams anymore, that your spiritual knowledge and spiritual connection starts to develop very quickly, because this is something that's always been inside of you, that has just been waiting for this moment for everything to click, and things are going to start to develop very quickly for you now. Um, So yeah, you're quite literally going through a rebirth process where you are coming into more of a connection with spirituality, with your higher self, and navigating the world from that way, and really taking a spiritual direction into um, gaining access to your manifestations, gaining access to wealth. Now, on this path, because we have the anger and self criticism and whatever this wasp card is representing, um, this rebirth process is you coming out of this energy and get gaining more spiritual access, more spiritual understanding. You're elevating above this energy. It's almost like shifting timelines, where this was like a very dark timeline, and now you're coming into this um, spiritual version of yourself, this um, more evolved version of yourself that isn't stuck with all these dense energies. So in this process, this could be where you're at right now, is you feel like, okay, I've taken the risk. I've decided to go all in. I've decided to trust in uh, spirit. Decided to, devote my time to my spiritual practice and really going on this path, because I understand that that's the way to access what I'm trying to manifest. And I don't understand what's going on, but I'm trying to just go with the flow. I'm trying to just follow the signs, follow what feels good, what feels bad, and make my decisions intuitively. And even though this path is a total unknown, I'm just going to take a risk on it anyway. Now, during this time, you might feel like nothing's coming. You haven't found that wealth yet. And this can trigger this wasp energy to come back up, and you can start, feeling like you're slipping, feeling this anger, feeling like, I don't know what else I can do. I've done everything, um, and nothing is happening. So you might find yourself going back and forth between these energies, feeling very in tune, feeling, in that energy of abundance, in that um, happy connection spiritually. And then, you know, on one second your mood flips and you're starting to feel that internalized anger and nothing's going right. And when this happens, this is this energy being transmuted. If you need to cry, if you need to, you know, take time for yourself, scream, whatever it is, this is this energy being transmuted as you go through this process. You're still in the in between, and going through this process. So these, like, your mind and your body remember habits and behaviors, and like, even though you're trying to change those things, and you're still kind of like practicing this new way of thinking, this new way of being, this new way of feeling and doing things. And every so often, especially if you're under pressure in this transitional time that we're in right now, um, you can really feel that anxiety start to creep in, and then the mood will flip and you'll be back in this wasp energy. But this flip flop, it's really you, well, on one hand, it's you training your mind and training your body to not be in this survival and not be, holding on to this anger and not taking action from that place. And on the other hand, it's also you transmuting this energy, really releasing it and getting it out so that you can really elevate into this new path. So the Queen of Cups is here, and this is really speaking to now this anger and this wasp energy, sorry, coming out. That, what am I trying to say? So the Queen of Cups, this is about receiving, being in a state of flow, being in a state of like really communication with the spiritual realm, communication with yourself, your intuition, and allowing yourself to be in a flowing state, in a receiving state where you can receive this wealth. When you're in this wasp energy, which has been going on for a very long time, it's been blocking you from being able to receive this wealth. And this doesn't have to be money. This could be whatever your idea of wealth and abundance is that you've been trying to create. Um, Being in this wasp energy blocks you from the state of receiving. So right now you're kind of going through this phase where you're practicing um, staying in this state of flow and allowing what's meant for you to come to you, because and not feeling like you have to push so hard for things. And this is a whole new arena because I feel that you're used to working very hard, and it's weird to kind of sit and just trust in the universe, trust in um, your intuition, because your intuition is giving you the signs. It's telling you, go this way, keep pursuing this unknown path, but it's freaking you out because it's unknown. And not only is it unknown, but it's a method of manifestation and it's a method of acquiring wealth and abundance that is not something that we typically do in this society, in this realm. So on top of it being unnerving to go down this path, it's extra unnerving because this is to do with materializing spiritual concepts. And so it's even more out there than to just take an unconventional career path or something. But every time, so that's why you need to be in this flow state, because you're doing things not only in a different way in the material world, but you're creating something in the spiritual and materializing it here. And it's not the same as just work, 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 work. It's like in regular conventional society, you would be like, okay, I want $10,000. I'm going to just work overtime. I'm going to work. I'm going to get a second job and I'm going to just save. And that's how maybe normal people would think about it. But there's something about the way you're doing things that is more spiritually evolved. It's like, you're like, I want $10,000. I I can trust that I can create it and it will come to me. And because you're not used to doing something like this, it's even more unnerving. And all your instincts, like your mind and your anxiety are and this survival mode is like, no, go back to just getting the two jobs and doing this. And but your intuition is telling you, no, keep walking this path, keep just being open to receiving. So you're kind of training yourself to really be open to receiving and not push as hard. And it can be, you can feel like you're stuck in this back and forth where your spirit and intuition is telling you to go one way, and your mind is telling you to go back to the way things used to be. But you're really, and it can be frustrating to hear, because with this wasp energy, I also feel that you're extremely frustrated with continuing to trust and continuing to like follow your intuition, and because there's not really anything tangible about this just yet, um, that can also trigger this wasp energy to come back up, where it's like, okay, I've been in this Queen of Cups energy, I've been in this flow state, I've been ready to receive, and I haven't received anything. And then that anger comes up again, and the frustration comes up again, and you can feel like you're really stuck here. You're really being asked now to, it's not that you're not meant to do anything right now, but you're not meant to go back the way you came. And with the 10 of Wands here, I feel like like I said with the example of like, getting 2 jobs and really pushing, I feel like you're somebody who's always just really pushed and grinded and worked to the bone to get the things that you were trying to create. But, and that energy and that discipline is very useful now, but you're being asked to work in a way that's more creative and more in alignment, not to work in a way that is, making you grind yourself to the bone, but you can remain in this Queen of Cups state, in this receiving state, in this flow state, and work creatively and have that discipline and that work ethic, but work in a creative way to move forward. Don't go back to the way you used to do things, but take a more creative approach. Because as much as you are relying on guidance, from the spiritual realm, from your inner self, to really navigate this path, at the same time you're the one creating it, and that could also be making you feel stuck right now because you're waiting for some kind of direction. But you're doing the right thing by retraining your mind and your emotions to, remain in this the spiritual state, and this, giving and receiving, this flow state. You're doing the right thing retraining your mind, so don't feel like you're going back. If you have a bad day where you're stuck in this wasp energy, don't feel like you're working backwards. But as you do this, you want to be not going back to the way you used to work, but finding a way where you can work, you can put your ideas out there, and still remain in this flow state, still be happy, and be in this state of openness, so that you can be open to receiving, open to opportunities, and the things that will come up as you move in a more creative direction. Um, I think what can be making you feel stuck right now is that there's not really any blueprint. It's you're creating this. It's your creative ideas, your creative energy that's really forging the path. And that's why it's unknown. It's really like you're being a trailblazer for something. Um, so you want to work towards that. You don't want to go back to the conventional way of doing things where you feel this heavy energy. You want to work in a new, creative, more expressive way. And with this hangman here, I feel like there's this perspective shift that needs to happen, because there's part of you that's still thinking in this, the way you used to do things. And there's something about this, um, creative flow state and working from that way. It feels foreign to you because you're so used to working so hard for things that the idea of work being fun, work being something you enjoy, that's just coming from you purely and creatively, it's like that needs to be reframed in your mind, that that is still work, and that you can still, this is a valid path to success, this is a valid path to abundance. And so that's what's happening right now. But don't feel like you're missing out because you haven't fully integrated this, or you're still in that back and forth, because like I said, you're in this period of transmuting this energy now. So there is going to be that back and forth, where you're retraining yourself how to operate with this new understanding of manifestation, and this new understanding of creating wealth and abundance in the material realm. So that's really the process you're going through, but you're really being asked now to try and remain in this flow state as much as possible and create from there. When you're feeling really good, when you're feeling in that state of receiving, receiving can also be receiving ideas and creative inspiration. So you want to go with that and put your work ethic and your discipline towards that, and see that as just as valid as going to a conventional job. Even though I feel like for a lot of you, the people around you could be, maybe not understanding your dream because they're not as spiritually in tune as you are. So that could bring about doubts, and that could skew your perception on this. So you want to really be focused on yourself right now, maybe not sharing too much about this with other people, because um, you don't want to trigger that self-doubt, and then that triggers this wasp energy to come back out, and then you're just keeping yourself stuck there. So really it's a time of transmuting these really heavy energies, so that you can be in this flow state all the time and direct your creative energy in the way you'd like to. So I feel that once you really have this shift, and I feel like it is coming soon, like for the past, few months even, you could really have been feeling stuck in this energy of lack, stuck in this energy of self-criticism, of anger, of frustration. But you're at the tail end of that now, and I feel that as time goes on, as you keep directing your creative energy, you will feel these heavy energies start to lift if you haven't already, and really you'll be able to move quite quickly from there. With the Knight of Swords here, I feel that not only are there opportunities coming up for you that will be the doors opening to you finally receiving this wealth that you've been manifesting, but it's also you moving very quickly in the direction of the goals you've been trying to achieve. It's just that you had to align yourself with this first. You couldn't be a match for this while all of this heavy wasp energy was there. Um, and I also want to say with this, because there is jealousy on the card, there could be, um, I think that you want to really keep this to yourself, really just trust in your inner self, trust in your spiritual connection right now, because there could be people from the past that know you from before this rebirth cycle, that when you come into this success, they want a piece of what you have. There's a lot of people around you as well right now that can sense that you're coming into this. They don't understand, and I feel like if you are dealing with people talking down to you about what you're trying to do or anything like that, um, they can sense that what you're doing is a very powerful thing to be manifesting in this way, and they can sense your success before you do, because you're in the thick of the situation. And but they can understand what you're trying to do. You might have people that are jealous of what you're doing right now, even though you might think, I don't even have anything yet, I'm just trying to create something here, I'm just trying to do the best I can. But other people can see um, the potential you have and the power that you have, and often before you can even realize it. So it might be a good idea during this time to really just trust in yourself, and don't let people skew your perspective, and don't really let this jealous or negative energy be thrown at you. So also, I feel like this has been a very slow moving process for you. Like I said, over the past few months, you've been really going through it. But this is about to change for you very soon. You've, when with this Queen of Cups and the Ten of Wands energy here, when every time you've been directing your energy creatively to go on this path of the unknown, to go for what you want instead of taking the step backwards and going back to the more conventional lifestyle, every time you've done that, every time you've chose yourself in that way, you've built momentum for this success. And so don't feel like things aren't happening. Don't feel like you've been taking too long or that you've taken a bunch of steps back. This is just the process of transmutation happening, because what's happening now is going to be very big for you. And so soon you're going to have things start to click and have things start to come into motion, and you're going to have opportunities that really signal to you, okay, this is the right path, this is what I'm supposed to be doing, and this is a sign of the doors opening to what I want. And the path that seemed very unknown and very stressful, it starts to become more and more clear. There's always going to be this element of the unknown because, like I said, you're kind of trailblazing. You're doing something that totally comes from you creatively and spiritually. So you are the navigator in this situation, and there's not going to be many people that you can really look up to. It really is just relying on your own inner self. So I feel like this is also an energy that you're going to have to be dealing with for a long time in your career, especially I feel like this is involving your career mostly, um, and your lifestyle in general. This is something that you're going to need to be aware of and need to be confident in doing, um, because you are meant to be doing something completely new, completely unconventional in this way. And you are the one calling the shots. You are the one um, saying how it's done and becoming that blueprint for what will happen in the future in this field or whatever it is you're trying to do. So, this time right now is really about learning to trust in the spiritual realm, take cues from the spiritual realm, really trust in your intuition, feeling what's right, feeling what the right move is, and not being afraid if you get stuck along the way or you have to take a few steps back to take 10 steps forward or whatever. This is really about cultivating that relationship with yourself and with the spiritual realm, because this is something that you're going to be doing for the rest of the time you walk this path, because you are the one directing this, you are the one creating this and setting the blueprint for how it will be done. So, and that King of Wands energy, that is really you fully stepping into this power and um, really finding that balance, as well as, you can, where here you're learning to be in that flow state and apply yourself creatively. And this King of Wands energy, I feel like, is you really balance in that creative state, knowing how to, when to take action, how to be a leader, and how to, like I said, you're creating the blueprint for this path. So you're the one calling the shots, and this is you really stepping into that confidence. And with the Four of Swords and the Three of Pentacles here, I feel that this is when, so once things start to come together here with the Knight of Swords, when the opportunities start to come and you start to move very quickly, you start to see exactly what needs to be done. That path, that vision becomes clear in your mind, the path becomes clear, and you're starting to receive the money you need, the resources you need, whatever it is. These things start to come to you, and they're just indicators that you're on the right path. And you step into this energy of being ready to be this, to forge this path for yourself. And this is really where you completely integrate that healing and really ease this anxiety that's been plaguing you for quite some time, this wasp energy that's come up time and time again in your life where you feel self-critical and you feel angry, you're finally going to be able to heal that now and really feel secure, feel safe, feel this release of anxiety. And with the Three of Pentacles, this is whatever you've been trying to build, this is starting to have that stable foundation. You're going to start to see things come together. And this is even going to give you even more momentum, because once you start to see things come together, then you're going to be like, all of this spiritual practice, all of this listening to my intuition and everything, it really is real. And this proves it. This is tangible evidence. It won't make sense to anybody else, but you will know. This is tangible evidence that I've materialized something from the spiritual. I'm actually fully aligned with what I deserve and what I have a right to and the path that I'm meant to go down. So, for the advice cards, we have get clear on your intention, stay focused, and move quickly to achieve your goal. And I feel like this has a lot to do with that Ten of Wands energy, acting on your creative impulses, taking steps every day to move yourself in the direction that you want. The path is unknown and you're creating it. So take those ideas of inspiration and, plan out. If this path is a mystery, you're calling the shots. You have the vision for what you want. So write down what that vision is and the steps that you can take to get there, and start taking creative action, inspired action towards those things. And you will have this momentum start to build. Okay, and then we have now is the time for deep emotional healing. And that is what I was talking about when it comes to this wasp energy coming back up time and time again in your life. And it's really been that blockage to your success. It's really been a heaviness that's weighed on you. And now you're becoming lighter, moving into a more spiritual understanding of things. And this is transmuting that wasp energy. So be patient with yourself. If you have days where you feel like it's all wasp energy and you're frustrated, and be patient with yourself. That's you transmuting this energy. Just don't get too so lost in it that it stops you from moving towards your goals. Scream, cry, be frustrated, have a day where you're frustrated, but make sure that on the grand scheme of things, you're focused on that goal, and you're going to get back up and you're going to keep going for it. And then we have the period of darkness that you've been experiencing is now passing. And this is confirmation of what I was saying here, that you're going to start to see tangible evidence of that you're on the right path soon. You've been going through this for a while now, weeks, months, and it's been a very stressful time. It's been a time that's been testing your faith, and you've really been back and forth with the doubt and the faith. And you know there's times where you felt like giving up, but then something tells you to no, just keep applying yourself. And this energy is starting to shift now. We're coming out of that darkness and you're coming into the new cycle now with the rebirth here. So continue to have faith, continue to follow the messages that the spiritual realm and that your higher self and that your intuition gives you. And just trust that things are going to lift and everything's going to come together very soon. And you will see why it was so necessary for you to really practice being in this flow state, for you to transmute this wasp energy. And you're going to start to see things all coming together. All right, so that's what I have for you guys. Thank you for watching. If you like this video and it resonated, please leave a like and a comment. And if you feel called to, please subscribe so I can grow the channel and do more with it. And if you'd like a personal reading, I will link it in the description below. And I will see you next time.